a song, he says. Do a song.
An intro.
That's it. This is what I'm doing.
Okay.
I am doing it. It's amazing how many instruments I can play. This is the Jimmy Doane Show, everybody. We are live. It's 4 o'clock. Those two things coincide twice a week these days. On Wednesdays and Sundays, we'll be right here live on this Facebook channel, The Jimmy Doane Show. And then also I'll post a subject time-stamped copy up on YouTube sometime later today for your ease of perusal. We also have a website entitled The Jimmy Doane Show, or just jimmydoane.com. Both of them will take you there. All that will get you video content. We also have audio content on a number of places. Streams out of Libsyn, which goes to Apple Podcasts and Luminary and Stitcher and Spotify and SoundCloud. So find us any of those places. Join us anytime, and we'll be here. You can comment, and we'll see it after the show. So, what is happening? Oh, today is the 28th of August, 2019. What's going on, Jim Bob?
What's going on? Well, a couple things.
Okay.
One, let me just hold this up here real quick.
Oh yes, the doom.
That is the hurricane. That is like 20 different hurricane tracks. And if you want to, you can kind of make them out.
All scientifically accurate.
Well, yeah. Well, some of them go out straight out into the Atlantic Ocean, and some others go. They curve.
That's like a concise set of paths as well.
Actually, it's not
relative
bad
to what they normally look like.
What's interesting is
It looks like someone.
it looks like for our Sunday show, it could be sitting right here.
Aha! Kabam!
Yeah, we could broadcast either. Now, let me put it this way: if the lights go out here, we're going to have a little problem broadcasting.
That's right. We'll crank up.
But anyway,
the generator.
it's supposed to be here, I believe, either sometime Sunday evening or maybe Monday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll
if
see.
it gets here, we'll see. Everybody.
Yeah. Well,
but that's of course if we don't nuke it.
Well, that's true. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Right.
Well, why don't we talk about that now?
Okay, we can. Well, the thing about it is, here's the thing I'm a little nervous about. Right now, it depends, because if you nuke it, and you happen to be over, like, I don't know, Puerto Rico, you might think...
Two birds
with one stone. That's right. That's the thought. Well, the next stop, of course, is the Bahamas, and we take them out.
Right.
And then if it comes on shore at, say, Daytona, nuke it there, but not over Gainesville.
Right.
So now the one thing is
a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity. Well, the one thing is this apparently it's not huge. And it's apparently not going to be really fat. It's not going to be a Category 5.
Okay.
They're talking about maybe a Category 2. And of course, as soon as it hits our coast here, it'll be about 100 or more miles down the coastline where it hits. Yeah. And it should go down fairly quickly. The only thing we're worried about here are trees falling down.
Yeah, and limbs coming through the roof. Well, but the coast could theoretically get hit.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's the way it always is. But half the time it peels off and goes to the north.
Well, it has already moved a little bit north, so we'll see. I mean, today's Wednesday,
right?
And if it continues just to shove a little bit north, then then they can have it in Georgia. Bye. That's fine.
That's it. North Carolina.
That's it. North Carolina. You can get another one.
Well, and of course, just so everybody knows, in case all of our listeners, I'm sure, are well aware, but of course, the kinetic energy involved in a hurricane is orders of magnitude more than anything in any nuclear bomb.
Right.
You couldn't dissipate that type of energy with just one, even with a megaton, 20 megaton, the largest ever
asteroid.
Well, yeah, that would do it. Yeah, and of course, another idea I heard Scott Adams say was just go ahead and terraform West Africa. And
yes, right. Well, that was right. And the idea was, if you did that, you wouldn't have the heat coming off of the sands over there and everything.
Right.
And
I think for just a few 100,000 square miles, we could get it done.
Well, it is interesting that somebody was. I saw a study about that. Apparently, the sands from the Sahara who end up a lot in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh, is that right?
Apparently, there is a huge amount that blows over there every year. A huge tons and tons.
So we could wreck the rainforest also.
Well, that's right, and we're going to talk about that. We should probably talk about that in a minute.
Go ahead.
The Amazon rainforest, everybody is in a panic. I did see. Let me see if I can. Let me just see
Well,
here.
we reported last week that this is basically a non-story because
Right.
although there are fires, it's the same amount, relatively speaking, of seasonal fires. They're a little bit more intense in some areas, but a little bit less intense in the other areas, which normally cycle through fires during their dry season, and they're I guess, I don't know, whatever.
Well, what is interesting? There's a couple of things that are interesting here, real quick.
Okay.
First of all, Leonardo DiCaprio has pledged $5 million to fight the fires.
He's in.
Yeah, he's in. What's
Sucker.
interesting is that
Who's he giving it to?
I don't know, but the G7 people,
Right.
They managed to come up with $22 million.
Woo!
So Leonardo came up with 25%. Roughly
guy.
One guy. He's writing a check for, and 22 countries could, or I'm sorry, the G7 came up with. They pledged 22 million. So anyway, he said he's got some kind of a thing that does all
Probably
that.
a lot of that's from American donors as well.
He's got a fund of some kind, a Clinton fund or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he said,
Clinton fund.
well,
I gave $5 million to the Clinton for the rainforest.
that's it. So anyway, the Bolsonaro, the president of Brazilian president, said he may accept the 22 million as offered by the G7 countries to help combat forest fires in the Amazon, providing the French president Emmanuel Macron apologizes for calling him a liar. What?
I want him to stand on one foot.
That's right. That's right.
And I will slap him with a fish.
So he initially rejected the 22 million, showing concern that the offer of aid was a veiled attempt to undermine Brazil's sovereignty in the region.
Yeah, man. Well, look, here's the deal. 22 million.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, I would, if I were Bolsonaro, because you'd never hear the end of it. When we had to come to your rescue.
Well,
when your forests were burning, what did we do? We sent you the money.
Okay, and it turns out, as you said, everybody said that these actually are nowhere near as bad as the fires have been in the past during fire season.
Well,
and
yeah, from what I've heard, they're just normal. But go ahead.
normal. Well, not only that, more wildfires are burning in Angola and Congo than in Brazil right now.
We have fire.
Weather Source recorded 7,000 fires in Angola over the last 48 hours, and 3,500 in the Democratic Republic, as opposed to a little over 2,000 in Brazil. So of course, that doesn't tell you anything about the sizes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I know.
Way to use statistics.
I don't. Whatever it is. So I just thought it was interesting that they did that. Let me just see here where I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. And I thought the funniest thing was half of the pictures that you saw were pictures from fires from like a decade ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, there were people who rooted out the source of the photo, and they're like, "Oh, your Amazon photo is available here
Yeah, right.
for $7. It is stock fire footage.
Stock fire from
Right.
from Amazon.
It's great.
Well, when we look at it, actually, the fires are like in 3 countries down there. It's northwest Brazil,
it's
which
hundreds
is
of thousands of miles. You're talking about. Of course, there's going to be fires. It's just that's what happens. Fire happens.
well, of course they
like rain.
they have said that a lot of them are being set by the farmers who want to clear their land.
Well, okay, so there you go. There's
But
another.
they've been doing that before anyway.
Yeah.
But speaking of storms,
Okay.
the Storm Area 51 event pushes rural Nevada
Yes.
County to declare an emergency.
Yes. Now I've come up with a great idea.
Okay, tell me what it
So
is.
this is brilliant, I think. So Burning Man is getting too corporate
Boy, isn't that the
and
truth?
overrun. All right. So what you do is you call all the Burning Man people up and you say, listen, new festival. Okay, this is called the Contact Festival.
Okay.
Okay, and you tell everybody, bring your best alien costumes, your best, and here's the thing: you call all the people and you say, bring your best hoax, right? Like whatever it's going to be, now is the perfect time to stage your hoax, okay? And then you of course, you telegraph out to all the aliens that if you want to pick up anybody, this is the time
to do it. Yeah, you blend right in.
Blend right in. Nobody will even know.
Nobody will know
what great costumes
No,
you've got
that's
here.
right.
Okay, and then at the same time, you notify all the magicians to hold their convention there, and all of the hypnotists as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a combination alien, hypnotist, magician convention.
Okay.
What could go wrong? I think
Could go pretty nice, actually.
it's a no holds barred party in the new area there. Everybody makes money. I did hear that one like call girl outfit was sending.
Yes, they're going to send down a bus. Apparently, a bus. There's from one of the clubs there.
To the extent that those people have money.
Well, I mean, but they're going to send a bus down with like a half a dozen of these girls from Nevada.
I bet you the girls leave with half of the dollars.
Right, that's
into
right.
that.
Now this is so, but anyway, it's going to be kind of interesting. Because I think down in that area, prostitution is legal.
Oh goodness.
Seriously, it's only not legal in Reno and Las Vegas, those two counties.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's legal in Nevada, prostitution. So
man.
What can I tell you?
I wonder how many other things you can get away with out there in the desert.
Well, you have to understand that the town is like 5,500 people or something.
Right.
I mean, it's a nothing burger town.
Right.
And
that's not the town. The town is going to be the ring of RVs that circle the town.
Well, not only that, but when you think about seriously, you've been to MegaCon down here, and you've seen what people do for those costumes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If
I
mean, they are brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant costumes. And you can imagine if a couple of thousand people show up as aliens. Oh my God!
A couple of thousand. It's going to be tens of thousands.
We'll see. But again, it's. If you just go down there and have it as a party, that's what a person would do. But I tell you,
I'm with you.
If you stroll through the town with your bug. Seriously.
The Budweiser guy. This is eastbound and down.
Yeah. You think about
bring a truckload of beer.
I mean, the costumes could be just. Well, that's the other thing. An emergency declaration allows the state to supply resources in the event the outpost of 5,200 people needs help. Well, it'll be interesting to see. If it's just a party and the cops basically stay out of the way, it should be pretty much okay. If people, now obviously if you start to trespass on the base, there might be some problems of some kind or another. But they're supposed to be able to take care of themselves. You don't need the county Mounties are out there.
Yeah,
no. So
no, they won't touch the base.
That's what I'm saying. So seriously, you think about the costumes. The flying saucer, you could...
Yeah.
You could just really be a lot of fun. So anyway, that was...
So a few weeks from now, the 20th, right?
Yeah, 20th. The 20th of September. So.
Okay.
Next, that I had, this is a leftover from last week, 70 mayors reject the Trump food stamp proposal, saying it puts kids at risk. Now, here's the deal. There are well over 3,000 mayors, I think, in the United States. Well over 3,000. 70 of them have said because they want to cut back a little bit they want to tighten up the rules on food stamps. What they want to do is, the Department of Agriculture has said that more than 3 million people will lose their food assistance. And of course the mayors are saying it's going to hurt my peeps.
Right.
And the change in the SNAP, which is, I forget exactly what it stands for, aimed at plugging what critics say is a loophole that allows states to give benefits to people whose savings and other assets the Trump administration should make them ineligible. So apparently there's a loophole where even if you have a lot of money, you still can get the SNAP stuff. And so they've wanted to tighten that up. Well, when you figure there's 40-some million people on food stamps, and there's maybe 3 million that really are double dipping, and that's what this is. So everybody's all up in a row. And of course, it is the children.
Right.
The children are going to die, and they go to. They did a survey. Of course, this is one of these bogus surveys. and they asked a whole lot of children, 10,000 children or something all over the place, have you ever gone to bed hungry? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they're asking kids, okay?
Right.
Who doesn't go to... These kids are eating machines. Kids, from 5 to 13 or 15,
yeah,
they're like the caterpillars before they go into a butterfly. They eat all the time.
I don't know. I've had guardian ad litems tell me that kids don't lie.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, that's hard to believe. Yeah, they don't lie. No, they of course they're also I've gone to bed hungry.
Right.
What does that mean? What? How hungry were you? Well, I could have used another. I had 2 Whoppers. I could have used another one.
That's all right. I didn't get the second dessert.
Right.
No, look. Here's the bottom line. In America, nobody is hungry. I don't care who. If you're hungry, it's because you're not seeking out food.
Right.
Because there's free food falling out of people's homes
Just about
on
everybody.
a regular basis around here.
Well, one of the problems is that around here, especially in a lot of places, don't you allow you to give out free food.
Well, there's that. There's that.
They arrested that 91-year-old man down in Fort Lauderdale.
But that's, I think, the exception. The rule is...
You want to sell lemonade? You get arrested for that.
Well, yeah. Okay, but we're getting into a different aspect of the issue. The point is that food is available if you want it.
Yeah.
There's no kids starving. So this is one of those things that's easy to jump up and down and say, oh my God, the starving kids at school. 3 million. And I noticed the article said of the most vulnerable.
Right.
Like what? How? What? Well, no. It's actually the opposite. It's the least vulnerable ones.
Yeah.
And we reported.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and we reported that since 2011, food stamps have been rolling back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tiny amount. It's still, like you said, millions and millions of people still getting food stamps. Tens of millions of people still getting.
And of course, the food stamps they want to, as you just said, these are not even remotely vulnerable. I mean, they're getting fed fine.
Right.
It's not like they're cutting off the people that their whole life is on a food stamp.
Right.
It's they're getting other stuff as well.
Right. No. I mean, like you said, rich kids. Look, people will take the money. If you leave it out there, people are going to take. People say, well, the people who are anti-tax or the objectivists, the Ayn Rand people, they're hypocritical.
I don't take it, somebody else will.
Well, exactly. That's what I always explain to them. Look, once the money's been taken from you, it's fine for you to try to get it back. Mm-hmm. So if they're going to give it back to you in some program like free food or whatever, then you're going to take it. That being said, Americans would prefer not to have to rely on some agency for their food.
Right.
And to me, food is not such an expensive thing in this world anymore that people have to worry about that. And they should be able to provide that for themselves. I mean, literally. And there should be at least one person in the family who can make enough money to provide food for the rest of the family. And shelter as well when we're at it. So... we don't need government programs for those types of things.
Well, once you get hooked on them, though, you that's one of the little problems. We've seen this before. But when we were in college, when I was in college, I was eating ramen noodles for God's sakes and stuff. I mean,
of course. They're free in the plaza every day from the Maris.
Here, that's right.
And look, again, you're not going to starve. People could do fine, but we have this weird forced charity system,
right?
Which to me is not charity at all, because you don't get the real benefits of charity. And that is the giving. The giving part of the charity is removed because they just take the money from you.
Yeah.
And that's the real benefit. That's what you really learn in the universe. Is the best thing to do is to give, and then you receive back. And then also the person who's getting the stuff begins to expect it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's entitlement.
That's when a give. Yeah,
it's different from when you look at somebody and they're handing you something and they're giving up that thing from themselves to give to you. It's more special. So the stupid forced charity system that we have now, I think, is antithetical to our whole way of being. Honestly, and here's the thing: the bottom line is, I know people screaming at the. To the extent there are people watching, they're screaming at the at the screen right now saying, you don't care. Okay, all the people who say that we don't care can get together and donate the same amount of money. And that's a lot of people, because people do care.
Show me you care.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, moving along.
Yeah.
This is really important.
Okay.
The Flat Earth Society has revealed that SpaceX's Falcon Heavy launch was a hoax.
How did they reveal?
Well, here's what I've always wanted to know. The revelation comes from the Flat Earth Society that Elon Musk's recent foray into space was an intricately planned hoax. You know, the wag the dog or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They had a couple of, just as the latest, the decades-long globalist conspiracy designed to fool the world into believing the Earth is round. And so, of course, what he said was, the government has been in on this all the time. Now that Elon Musk sent his thing up, now they got the private people in there. Boy, you can't trust them. I mean, they're bad enough that the government says something, but when a private person comes out and says something, then it's double bad. And so people who believe that the Earth is a globe because they saw a car in space on the internet, are they the same people that say, well, it's true because I saw it on the internet. But of course, the thing is, the thing I would like to know is when you talk to this guy, whatever is this, and this is the one question that I have never heard anybody ask, and that is, what would it take? Tell me, what would it take to prove to you, if you think you understand, you believe it's flat, but just for a moment, what would it take for you to believe that the Earth is a globe? What would it take? And that's what you go for. Is, you know, I mean, if he says, well, nothing. Well, see, that's no good, and that's one of the things you ask people all the time when you run up a stomach block. Is you say, you tell me what it would take. When I was in real estate, you tell me what it would take to put you in this house.
Yeah, that's definitely a persuasive way to get them to bridge the gap for you.
And of course, sometimes what they'll say is, well, there's nothing you could say. And I'm thinking,
right.
Are you kidding?
Well, actually, that happened to me not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was in an economic discussion about the healthcare situation, and they said to me the same thing. What would it take for us to prove to you that this way works better? You know, we're showing you these statistics about the reduced costs and the increased benefits, and I'm like, well, I don't believe your statistics, first of all, when you delve into them, you know. But even then, even if they were to prove to me decades of statistics about benefits, I still wouldn't believe it from that because of my concept of human nature.
Right.
So they would have to convince me of something that, you know, human nature is different from what I think it is in order to convince me of that particular thing, which is almost a different argument from talking about the statistics in the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the Flat Earth Society, there are a couple of proofs that you can offer to the people, which I think can be convincing. But of course, we have friends, hey Jamie, who are totally all in on that, and it's difficult because there are pseudo explanations for different parts of it. But what I would urge them to do is go drive out to Cape Canaveral or Houston and get as close as you can and watch one of the launches there and feel the power coming off of this thing and watch.
They don't let you get close.
Well, yeah. They let you get close enough.
Yeah, that's true.
You can ask yourself, what would it take to fake that particular thing?
Right.
And
right. That's right.
You're not seeing that on the internet. You're seeing that, and
yeah.
you're not just seeing it.
You're feeling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the old days, you could actually feel the heat coming off of the thing. But these days, like you said, they don't let you get that close anymore. But still, it is such a monumental creation. And the thing that you watch, you got to ask yourself, they did all that to fake something? Mm-hmm. And if so, then all those people are in on it. Mm-hmm. And that requires a lot of silence. And then the other one is just, go get a telescope and go up as tall as you can, as high as you can go, and if the Earth was flat, you'd be able to see everything, but you can't.
Yeah, I think they have an explanation for that, but I don't know what it is. Okay, moving along. Mm-hmm. Vaping.
Yes.
The first vape death as concerns grow about safety of e-cigarettes. This is a jihad that I'm looking at this. I'm laughing my ass off. A patient who contracted lung disease after vaping has died. Health officials have said the death in the U.S. has been the first one, and the UK government, of course, has been promoting vaping as an alternative to cigarettes.
Right.
So now...
So that guy working in an asbestos mine or something?
I don't know, but anyway, it comes around an outbreak of lung disease across the U.S. that officials have linked to the use of e-cigarettes. the CDC said nearly 200 people have contracted severe respiratory illnesses from after vaping. The doctor said that their illnesses represented an inhalation injury with the lungs reacting to a caustic substance. Now, okay, it's 200 people. I don't know how many. There must be
tens of millions.
There are the deaths from smoking. Tens of millions a year.
Well, not that many, but it's hundreds
worldwide.
Of thousands. Oh yeah. Well, at least millions.
At least millions. I mean, you got to think. I mean, everybody in China smokes.
Yeah, it's 500,000 here, I think.
Yeah, right. So we got 200 now that they said they have contracted. No, nobody died yet, but they've contracted respiratory.
Right.
And
look, this is to me a hit piece.
I'm laughing.
This is the cigarette industry hired some journalist to write a thing about this. Hey, do you have anything on the vaping thing? Look, more people have died from the vape things exploding in their faces.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 1,200 people got shot with the thing. When
really?
It blew up in their face, but it's still 0.001%.
Right.
Yeah, they're and again, like you said, when you compare them to cigarette smoking, that's where most of the clientele comes from. People trying to switch.
Right.
So,
I just thought it was interesting that here was a big article about one death.
Yeah, where'd you find it? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Fake news. Now here's some good news.
Okay.
Hasbro, big toy manufacturer, has a new Monopoly game called Socialism. And the game and socialist people, the socialists are not happy. Because apparently this game makes fun of socialism. The guy that's writing this said he was not aware of it because somebody on Twitter and it gets spread all over the place, and apparently it's being sold everywhere. So it's composed by a deeply offended socialist that monopolies socialism entered my consciousness. So the guy, there was a socialist that was offended by this game because it's as far as he was concerned, it wasn't the truth or something. Which, of course, is kind of
capitalism in disguise.
Well, or something like. Well, what's interesting to me is on so many levels. First of all,
yeah, it works.
Monopoly has been around for 80 years, and they're not much complaining about that. I mean, capitalists don't complain. Nobody complains about it. But suddenly they come out with something that's socialism, and the socialists themselves are upset about it. I mean, you can imagine how many capitalists played Monopoly. Anyway, the real one. But anyway, it's interesting. He says, by the time I read in the instructions, you pass go and you get $50 in a living wage, which was presumably reduced from the usual $200 to emphasize that socialism makes everyone poorer or something like that. So the game is
Cut the Monopoly money you get.
Yeah, right. So the adult party edition of Monopoly game has players moving around the board contributing to community projects, unless they can steal the projects to get ahead. So this is the product description on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Contribute to the community fund unless you choose to deplete it. Consider the best interest of the group, unless you want to forget that and just do your own thing. So anyway, his players move around.
Is there a way to win where you become a socialist dictator, or is
I don't know. It says here it says move around the board, working together to make a better community by managing and contributing projects such as a no-tip vegan restaurant, an all-winter school, or a museum of cooperation. The description says continues, but nobody said that cooperation is easy. So you're constantly voting to shake things up because it's the socialist thing, and there's always an emergency that requires dipping into the community fund and contribute all of your 10 chips to win the game unless the community fund goes broke. So it's interesting. I mean, you're going to show your concern for the community when something comes up. I don't know, a park or something, and you say, well, I guess the little cards you draw maybe say contribute 2 quatlus to the community fund or something. I mean, I don't know, but it'd be kind of interesting to see it. I just thought it was interesting that the capitalist Hasbro people have decided to come out with the socialist game.
And of course they're going to sell it to people.
Right, that's the whole point. Well, one of the things that you see, of course, at the socialist, when you have the socialist gatherings and there's all kinds of people, the capitalists are there selling them T-shirts.
Right,
Che
yeah.
Guevara and stuff
Right.
like. I mean, it's making a buck.
Sure.
Oh my God, I love it. It's just, it's so great. Okay, we did talk about Trump suggested hitting nukes to last ditch effort, and let's see, government scientists no, and this is what they wanted to do. Oh. This was done by an outfit called Axios, and of course they're making a big deal about Trump saying. Apparently, this is one of those offhanded comments, that it was in private. Trump said, "Yeah, we can nuke it. What do you think?" Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yet it got out, and so now they're taking this to make Trump look like he's crazy.
They've
So
been
that's
doing
what
that. It's the beginning of the end. They've been doing that for a long time.
I know they have. Now this is, I don't know what's going to happen to this. We're going to find out, I guess, pretty quick. China's patience runs out as Beijing signals it has a responsibility, quote unquote, to intervene in Hong Kong. So what do you think?
Yeah, this was on my list this week because I don't know if people understand the ruthlessness that China's government is capable of acting with.
Yeah.
They literally put down the Tiananmen Square.
Oh, there was a couple hundred people killed, right?
Yeah. And they indiscriminately they just marched in and started shooting people.
Yeah.
That'll clear them out of the freaking road, and it will.
Yeah.
Interesting to conceive of Hong Kong, something like that happening in Hong Kong. I mean, this to me could be a big event. This could be a trigger. This is something in the sort of a Black Swan-ish
Good point.
thing to me, because it has.
Now, what we're talking, for those who have not heard us before, the Black Swan events are rare events that bring everything collapsing down.
Yeah, or at least are causative of some systemic or major change.
Well, it's a chain of it's the beginning of a chain event. It's the
or the secondary link
it's
or
the
something.
butterfly in Thailand that causes the hurricane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a large amount of air traffic that's headed towards the Chinese mainland gets routed through Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, they have. It's a huge, busy airport for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that. I mean, there's a lot of people that have business in actual business in Hong Kong.
Right.
And they fly in there all the time. And
Right. Well, it's arguably the most productive city-state on the planet.
I guess maybe Singapore, but Hong Kong.
Well, right. I mean, like I said, arguably.
Yeah, arguably,
top
right.
5 anyway.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
And so, and here we have this major dispute, which has involved millions of Hong Kong citizens.
Well, they had a turnout of like 2 million people in the streets of Hong Kong.
Yeah, and that seems like
That's a lot.
Pretty well entrenched. Apparently, they're getting tattoos and I mean, they're making kind of a big deal out of it. So
we're going to see what happens. Maybe it'll be. You remember at the last scenes in V for Vendetta before the Parliament building blew up.
Yeah, but China is not the type of place. I mean, they're
not going to back down, huh?
No, I don't know, and especially not. I mean, this is not in Beijing. That last one was in Beijing,
right?
And so here, I mean, this is way over there. I mean, they could kill a lot of people and have no.
Boy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, what do we? And nothing happened last time. What, we put a little sanction?
Well, no. But this I'm thinking is maybe a little different than that because, well, maybe not. We'll see what happens.
Because Hong Kong, more or less, has been living in the British tradition for the last century.
Right.
And so, that's a.
I don't know if anybody. I don't think the Brits or anybody have a treaty with Hong Kong. Where they got that agreement, but I don't think it's a treaty.
Yeah, no, it's just the remnants of the agreement.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy, I forget. Some guy said Hong Kong's protests have turned into I don't know what this a color revolution.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I didn't look it up. But it says that overturning the special administrative region's constitutional institutions. I didn't realize they had a constitution. And anyway, previously Chinese officials have described the protests as having the same characteristics of a, quote, color revolution. Apparently that's a bad thing. I don't know. We'll have to find it. Might have to Google that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure we're not done with Hong Kong.
No. So anyway, what happened was Mobs violently smashed a police vehicle and attacked police officers. And see how the propaganda was, see how the police exercised restraint in order to avoid bloodshed.
And they did. I saw the police getting pushed back. A guy with an umbrella swinging at a cop with a stick, with a billy club. But again, this is China tolerating. That's China not even trying.
Yeah.
When they try,
yeah,
they'll wheel out the
big guns.
That's it.
Yeah. The internal. We talked about this once before. The Internal Revenue Service has once again sent out messages or letters to the crypto holders. Mm-hmm. And of course, what is Bitcoin these days? Is over 10,000?
Yeah.
Well over 10,000. It's interesting because gold is now like 1,600. It's gone way up, and silver is
something. Yeah, gold is in a territory we haven't seen since 2013. Since really the last time it came out of the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And silver's getting up there as well. I mean, it was briefly at this level in 2016. It passed 20 for a week or two or something, but.
And there seems to be a rush. And Peter Schiff is saying, "This is it. This is the time we're going." You know, he's said that before, of course. But he's actually been on a couple of different interviews now. There's people that are
they're bringing him back.
They're bringing him back. The Rolodex is wait a minute. Where who is that? Where do we find this guy?
Who's that crazy
guy? We need to get him on here.
That's right. Well, it's interesting. One thing, Peter. I love Peter, and to me, if you want to know where I stand economically, you can go watch Peter Schiff's podcast. He does an audio podcast,
right.
and it's pretty dead on, with one exception at least, and that is that he thinks that everybody is as smart as he is, and so he doesn't see that the market participants who make the determination as to where the market really goes are not as informed and not as educated as he is.
No, and they have their own biases as well.
Those things as well.
I mean, they've been living on fiat money for 30, 40, 50 years, and what is this gold thing of which you speak? I mean,
or they have some limited, narrow understanding of a piece of the market here or there. Some of them may respond to some of these bad signs that we see, the death cross or the inversion of the yields.
One thing I have seen, of course, the scammers are coming out. I saw an ad the other day for genuine silver something or another, and it was like $30 for.
And it was silver plated.
No. This was real silver, 100%. But it was like, double the regular price of this thing, whatever. Then there's a couple of other ones that you see the picture, and it's actually the size of a dime.
Right. Yes.
But you have to read the comments in there, and it'll say in little tiny print there, picture enlarged to show detail.
Right. Well, and that's what's going to happen. They're reaping that premium for reaching out to potential customers.
Yeah. And because it seems cheap, when you think about it, you've got this. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it looks as though they've said, well, we've seen the price of silver go up by 50% in the last couple of months, and here today, for for $29.95, we'll send you this one, but if you want an extra one, the next one only costs you $28, and blah blah blah.
Well, it's good marketing.
Yeah. No, it is. It is.
You're going to see that, but like I was saying, we don't know how the participants in the market, which is everybody, or a large portion of people, how they're going to respond to the signs that are being flashed. Some people will they'll have markers like, if gold trades above 1,500, then I'm going to get in or something.
Too late.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, so we're in interesting economic times.
So anyway, the IRS once again sent brandy notes, and apparently I didn't know there's a 1099-K, and everybody's supposed to send directly to the IRS, and a 1099-B, and everything on clarification on what you've done. And of course, the thing is, they have not made any rules yet on this on the crypto. What you do on stocks and bonds and stuff. The brokers fill that stuff out, but on crypto, who the hell fills it out? I mean,
I'm sure that
they haven't done any rules yet on who fills it out.
There must be a general application on realized funds.
But one of the things about it, as you know, is you could see the crypto coins going to $10,000 at the end of the year, and then you have to file a report, and it drops to $5,000, and you've lost your ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super risky stuff.
Now, this is another thing. Talk about money, and I thought this is kind of interesting. The judge orders Johnson & Johnson to pay $572 million, over $500 million, in a landmark ruling because they're responsible for ravaging Oklahoma on the opioid crisis. Now, this is one of those things that they're the ones that made the pills, but the doctors all had to prescribe them, and apparently the attorney for Oklahoma State. And of course, the state wants to get the money. Obviously, $500 million. They had been sued. They were suing for $20 million.
20 billion.
I mean, $20 billion. Yeah. And so they only got a paltry.
Yeah.
Something.
$500 million.
Yeah, $500 million. First ever court we're going to hold a company responsible for the opioid crisis. Now, this is one of those things that, of course, once this goes, you look at the gun manufacturers, for instance. He said the company was responsible for, quote, ravaging the state of Oklahoma by misleading customers with its market and creating an opioid crisis that resulted in more than 6,000 deaths over 20 years. Now, wait a minute. 6,000 deaths over 20 years, and it's going to cost you $500 million. I don't know. It seems a little... I think they tried to woo doctors by bringing them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and by sweetening them with speaker strategies. That they got them to pay them.
That's one death a day.
Yeah, I mean seriously, it's not only that, but as if this sweetening thing hasn't been going on forever.
Right.
I had a girlfriend of mine. That was her job. She would go, and she was attractive, and she would go into the doctor's office and say, "I'm here representing so and so, and here's some stuff." And the thing about it is, they've been briefed on this, and they know what to tell the doctors.
Of course.
And here, by the way, are all the things that could go bad.
Right.
And here, the last item is death could occur.
Right.
And so forth. So.
Yeah, and those are all mandatory. Now, this is just sour grapes. This is a grab by the state of Oklahoma to try to get some funds, like you said, and try to pat themselves on the back. Look what I did! I went after this big corporation, this big evil corporation.
I've sued for $17 billion. It says here.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, people have to remember and realize that at no time there's a clear, bright line that can be drawn here. At no time did anyone from Johnson & Johnson approach anyone else with a gun and force them to take products?
Right.
These things were offered, and then they were voluntarily purchased. Now, that should obviate the originator of any liability.
Well,
once it's in another adult's hands.
Well, they can't go after the doctors because there's too many of them. In other words, the idea is the doctors are the ones that are writing the prescriptions.
Yeah.
And, the doctors are supposed to look after their patients.
Well,
it's not Johnson & Johnson.
They went after Johnson & Johnson because they have the big bucks.
Oh, no. Well, they're worth an estimated $340 billion.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
So now
we're talk about big bucks.
Big bucks. So they're even if it doesn't get overturned, it's like it's chump change.
It is. That's like
it's not chump change to Oklahoma.
No, but to Howard Johnson or Johnson & Johnson, it's chump change. But
Howard Johnson's right.
But still, it would set a horrible precedent. So, like you said, they better overturn it because the causation there it's just not there. Causation is just not there. You can look. It goes on everything. I know. That's what I'm saying. Once you buy a thing, if you're going to try to, the rules have been pretty well delineated there about what it's intended for and that kind of stuff.
Well, the gun people, I know that they want to go after the gun manufacturers.
Yeah.
And I can understand it. Like if you go into Toys R Us, well, there's no Toys. If you buy a toy that is defective, then you can go after the manufacturer.
Right.
You don't go after the store that sold it to you.
Right. And there is a general warranty of merchantability for a particular purpose, and merchantability for general purposes that go along with all products in the United States. That's part of common law. But the problem obviously comes in when you have something like a gun, which is designed to injure. And so it's doing what it's supposed to do,
right?
But then, like we've broken down before, do you blame if you're going to blame the gun manufacturer? Do you blame the bullet manufacturer? Do you blame the gunpowder guy? Do you blame the guy who mined the lead? At what point do you
sue them all?
That's right, up and down the river, law of inertia. But this kind of thing, where the drug. it's designed to help people. Okay, some people overdose, but you
wonder what
one a day per.
Right. One death a day for the last 20 years.
Yeah, this seems like a small number, but I guess that's what they figured in the award amount. But
yeah, okay, and now we're coming here towards the end a little bit here. A couple things I've got that I wanted. Yeah, two more things.
Go for it.
The Austrian police are hunting for cowbell thieves.
What?
Well, apparently, what happens in Austria, not Australia,
right?
Austria, up in the up in the mountains. What they do is they let their cows, and they do this in Switzerland too. They wear these cowbells and they let them go during the forage time. They just turn them loose, and like they used to do in the West, you had it branded and everything, but they turn them loose. And they have the bells on them, and so now they've been finding out. They've gone up there and they found that the bells have been stolen. And so they're hunting for the cowbell thieves. They stole over a dozen cows grazing in the west of the country. Why would somebody steal a cowbell? Now, of course, are you kidding? I mean, I would imagine as a tourist or something like that, you're drawing it out and you're going in and you're thinking, shit, I'm taking this home. I mean, and you've seen it on, what is it, on Saturday Night Live, the cowbell. I want another cowbell. And of course, a lot of what was interesting was the comments on this. They all showed Blue Water Group, or what was it called?
Blue Man Group. Right?
Blue Man Group, and Will Ferrell, that was the gift that they put on there.
Well, yeah, it wasn't Blue Man Group. It was like Leonard Skinner or somebody. Who was it?
No, it was called It was maybe the song was Blue something. There was blue in there. No, it wasn't Simba's group.
Right.
No, I know that. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. There are a total of 13 cowbells in the Tyrol this month, and maybe some more. They've estimated that the stolen bells were worth about €1,000, which is that's no total. But still, what we're talking about is we're talking about maybe $50-$60 per bell.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's not hardly what you call Grand Theft Auto, but it is interesting that the comments all went immediately to Saturday Night Live. More cowbell, please. I just thought it was funny. Now, the next thing I've got, and this is, we've talked before about the demonetization on YouTube and Twitter.
Cancel culture.
The
cancel culture.
Cancel.
Yeah, that's what they say is we're going to cancel you.
No, but Culture something was the name of that band, I think, on SNL.
Okay.
Or whatever. No, but yeah, the cancel culture, right. Culture. So YouTube is quietly removing hundreds of videos depicting robots battling each other to death. Now, you've seen this on TV where they get out there.
BattleBots?
BattleBots, yeah. Well, apparently they filmed this and they put it up on YouTube. So YouTube is banning all of them, saying, and they have a new algorithm that's taking down robot combat videos, said a YouTuber. What happens is, according to YouTube, what they've said is, content that displays the deliberate infliction of animal suffering or forcing animals to fight is not allowed on YouTube. That's how they took them down. It's because apparently the algorithm does not differentiate between robot fight or whatever these little things are. They're like cars and stuff. It's not like they have robots.
Yeah.
But they're not. And I think that most of the time people aren't they mostly remote controlled anyway. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, they're not autonomous.
No.
Anyway, but I thought it was interesting that there seems to be some complaint that the YouTube algorithm.
Well, like you said, it must be the algorithm because obviously, if you asked a human.
Well, the thing about it is the how long would it take you to undo that algorithm? I mean,
I don't know. It might be difficult for the computer to distinguish between an animated robot that has limbs and things and a creature. Well, because what are you going to do? Tell it to.
Well, the thing about it, what happens if you go out in your nature, and you're in your nature thing here, and you find two rhinoceros beetles battling it out. Mm-hmm. You film that and put it up there. Woo, that goes away.
Right. Maybe you could teach the algorithm to recognize metal. And then if it concluded that the two battling objects were metal, that it excluded them.
Who knows? But I would think as soon as somebody complained that they would have somebody hop right on and say, oh,
yeah,
duh.
That I could see them because there's no creature which skin looks like metal.
Well,
you could probably,
who knows?
Yeah, okay.
I'm not a programmer.
All right. Well, I got one thing, and that is Brexit.
Yes. Oh, that's right. The Queen got involved.
Boris went and got her involved.
Right. First time since 1947.
Is that right?
Well, not only that. Guess what? Same Queen.
Is that right?
Yes.
Thanks for coming back.
No, thanks for coming back. I mean, that's how long she's been there. She was queen like in 1944. Or maybe it was 54. Maybe it wasn't the same queen. Somebody. Let's see. She's what? How old is she now? 90.
Yeah.
And so she was put in when she was like 20 or something. So 70 years ago. Do the math.
So, yeah, 50. I mean,
maybe.
It could have been.
Could have been, possibly. Yeah, maybe. I'd have to look and find out when she became queen.
Yeah.
But well, it's close anyway. But the bottom line is, come on, the first time since then, and she's went along with it. So apparently, Parliament has been disbanded. I didn't realize she had the ability. Has been disbanded, and for about another month or two, until about 30 days before the actual Brexit does.
Yeah.
So
he's bringing him back for the Queen's speech.
Yes.
And then they'll have like a weekend to try to stop him or something.
I mean, really, this is.
It's great. Well, I just love the concept of two authorities, two major authorities separating. This is a battle between the men with power, with just sort of authority, and men with money, people with, there has to be moneyed interests who will, whose fortunes will shift because of this.
Oh, you can bet on that.
And those people will obviously fight a great deal.
Well, there's going to be some that are going to go plus and others minus for sure.
Well, right.
And so that's the same.
Maybe that's how it balances out because the money.
I think. I hear that. I mean, one of the things that I see all the time is when people are saying, like, we were talking about the Coke Industries guy, that died, and he was a supporter, blah blah blah. Well, like the Democrats have Soros and people like this. So I mean, it balances out.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, I got to think. I'm talking about people with real moneyed interests, like tied in with the treaties and things like that, tied in with the trade interests.
Right. You're right. I suppose if it's the cotton industry,
right? These are people,
or the cow industry,
who are going to directly have to renegotiate major contracts.
Well, of course, one of the things that what this might very well do, and actually. Some 150 years ago, whatever it was, in the 1840s, when Britain finally passed the Corn Laws, where they started to really take off as a major power, the fact is they did it unilaterally, and it does not prevent any company or group of companies from signing their own little trade agreement with everybody. Right. I mean, they go. You can walk into the some backwood place in France and say, how about we do you a deal here?
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, that decentralization of power is usually a good thing.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I really believe it is. I mean, I know that people, they say here, for instance, that the government can negotiate better pricing because it's 50 million or whatever it is. But when all is said and done, if they're all small players, they ain't got to negotiate that way.
Yeah, and I don't mind if people conglomerate voluntarily,
right,
to get together and negotiate big things. But when there's
the government has guns. I mean, that's the problem. Is when when one of the participants in this thing has the ultimate weapon.
Well, we'll find out in 2 months.
Yes, we will. We'll be back for that.
That's interesting. Oh, one other real quick thing. There's a movement for the police to be able to have access to your door cameras.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Now, that is And how does that work exactly?
Well, so the door camera thing has proliferated.
Yeah, I know. It's
You know,
so crazy because
Ring, and there
they
are
got
several rip-offs.
tons of. My thing is coated with them. I mean, in Facebook
So
or
cameras are super cheap, and you can get them, and
they're all Wi-Fi and everything.
yeah, and they're quite good. So people came up with the idea of, hey, well, why don't we just stream it straight to the police station?
Mm-hmm.
And also it helps when the police are canvassing an area. For if there's a robbery in one house, they can check the cameras of the surrounding houses and see if the perp walked up to any other houses as well and got a better picture taken of them. So there are some uses, but I am going to caution everyone against doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, people who make that argument that I just made are vastly overestimating the interest that the police have in stopping crime. Okay?
Well, yeah.
They're not going to do a bunch of work like that. Okay,
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't provide them with the video, and as you know, you can provide them with a freaking video of the perp standing in your house and tell them that's the criminal right there.
Right.
And they're still like, well, is it really?
Yeah.
Are
No, I
you
had-
sure
yeah.
you didn't
Been
give
there.
them
Oh, my God.
permission? And it goes on and on and on. And so, really, it's useful in some regards. I think it's more useful to ward the criminal away than it would be to capture their image. I would urge people, instead of having necessarily cameras, to have a dog. Have a big dog that barks loud, or even have a system that if somebody comes in at night, barking starts from your computer.
Right.
That kind of a thing. That I think would be helpful.
Well, the thing is
skips
also
around to your various speakers.
right. Yeah. The thing I look at is you don't have to let them have it. I mean, it goes to your phone.
Well, exactly.
And then
That's
the next thing you know, is somebody going to hack this? I mean, if it's
Well-
on your Wi-Fi, how many people's Wi-Fi password is password? I mean, it's
a lot.
A lot.
And people would hack it. But more importantly, what you don't want is to be arrested by your own police because, for example, you let grandma, somebody gave grandma the keys as she's walking out the door with a wine glass in her hand or something.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's just a bunch of ways you can get in trouble. And I've already seen it, and I think we're going to see it more and more. I saw some NFL guy got busted for cocaine because the police tapped into his cameras.
Really?
Yeah, they called a burglary or whatever, and the cops were like, "Oh, what's that cocaine in the background?" And so he got busted because of that. So, like you said, you want to have your attorney go through your videos first and release to them only what's necessary. But there are better deterrents, like a big sign that says intruders will be shot or something. That's another good one. So, all right, that's all.
That's good.
Yep, and right on time.
Right on time.
Hey.
So let me ask you. Let's see. Is Sunday the 1st?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So we'll be back.
Well, assuming that we don't get hurricaned out.
That's right, and this will be Labor Day weekend, right?
Yes.
So we will see you hopefully on the 1st. So share this with your friends, spread it around, and you guys can say you were the first one. Sort of.
Yeah.
I'm Council Curtis. It's Jimmy Doane Show. We'll be back 4 o'clock on Sunday. Talk to you soon.